Hi guys, when it suited the Tory government last year to pay nurses way below the rate of inflation, they justified it by saying that it had nothing to do with them, but it was the recommendation of the, and I quote, independent pay review body. This was a lie, as neither was the pay review body independent or that the government had to follow its recommendations. I mentioned that at the time. But now that inflation is stuck, government ministers like Helen Whately are saying that they have to ignore the so-called independent pay review body because reasons.
Say that. I mean, let's be clear. We take the advice and recommendations from the pay review bodies, but you all understand that government has to be responsible with the public finances. That's why I can't say here and now what the outcome of the whole process is going to be. We know we have a number one priority of bringing down inflation, and actually the job in government and job of Prime Minister is to make tough decisions.
So can junior doctors, just to clarify, can junior doctors, can police service, can teachers expect between 6 and 6.5% has been recommended by the public sector pay review bodies?
So I'm not going to preempt the outcome of the government's response to the pay review bodies.
But when your colleagues, and indeed you who sat there previously, and we've talked about percentage pay increases, you've always said we have to abide by what the independent pay review bodies suggest to us.
I don't believe that is what we've always said. What we always say, usually say, and certainly what I've said in the past, I believe, on this, is that we look at the recommendations from the pay review bodies. It's very important that they
Even
provide us with that
chairman
evidence.
is chosen by the Prime Minister and you tell them what the budgets are.
So what's
the point?
So the point is to have a process where you have expert advice on recommendations on pay, but the government has to make decisions in the round.
So is it independent or is it not independent? Because last year you were saying an independent pay review body and we need to follow what they recommend. Of course, that was a lie at the time. You could ignore what they say and you could pay nurses more and other public sector workers more. But now you're saying, well, we're actually going to ignore what they have to say and make our own decision. Then what's the point of the independent pay review body? Well, your justification is, well, they're just a bunch of experts and they give us advice. We can decide whether to take it or not. So last year when they were saying, well, we can't pay nurses more because the independent pay review body said, I think it was 3% at the time. Now that it's more than 3%, 6 and a 6.5%, you say, no, we're not actually going to follow their advice. What charlatans, liars. And to say that, well, we need to bring down wages because that's driving inflation. Well, if inflation was rising last year and wages were not rising, then how can you say that inflation this year is stuck at a very high percent? And once again, it's due to rising wages. Wages are rising in some sectors, but in the public sector, wages have remained pretty much stuck for a number of years now. It's convenient to ignore the independent pay review body when they want to. You know, last year it was we have to follow the guidance of the pay review body, and then this year, no, we're actually going to ignore it. While they will say that we are the party that support the NHS, we are the government that support the NHS. By not increasing wages, you're going to drive more and more medical staff, doctors, nurses out of that sector. Either people will immigrate to Australia, New Zealand, Canada, where pay is better and conditions are better, or people will just leave nursing, for example, and work in the private sector, in retail, for example. And then what are you going to, then if you allow that to happen, then how are you going to deal with the backlog in the NHS? These people don't care. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.